Hello, Ira Whiteside here, and I'd like to take you through our offering for creating and supporting the information value chain through a metadata mart. We'll be utilizing Amazon Web Services for hardened infrastructure and security. This, of course, will require no implementation from a hardware or software perspective uh, on your company's part. In essence, we're going to be taking your data, as we show you here, the business language, and that's described in the other videos I've created to describe the methodology for the information value chain. We'll be taking your business definitions, your business information, creating some worksheets for that, and utilizing our technology to help you map that to your raw data. Raw data will be able to be ingested through the E3 capabilities. We'll then utilize ABI Amazon servers for analyzing that data, mapping it and linking it, and then doing the appropriate data profiling and scanning to create the information. You'll be able to utilize QuickSight or any analytical tool you choose, Power BI, for example, and provide analysis and information, again, following the processes that we've described as the information value chain, thereby linking business objectives, business questions, measures, and metrics, and creating a mapping and lineage to your existing raw data.
You're looking at a Excel-based sample of some of the types of information you can draw from a metadata mart. You'll notice here that we're looking at a particular file. That file, we have things in here like the profile name, which would be the file name, the record name, the field name, gender, marital status, address line, 1, 2, you name it. Then we'll see beginning to collect some information and statistics, the minimum value in that column or field, the maximum value, the inferred data type. All of these things are important in that they're going to give you a pretty much single page two-dimensional view of your file and a quick look at how things are lining up in that file for a particular column. Even things like the minimum and maximum values can pretty quickly tell you what you're looking at in terms of reality and results. Are you violating business rules? You'll know that very, very quickly. Now, another concept is we want to be able to analyze those results from the perspective of business data and metadata. You'll see here real quickly, and again, we're talking about healthcare data here. We've taken and we've organized some data so that we have hierarchies here that show parties at the top, a type of party, listing out whether they're a consumer, an individual consumer, or different types, then breaking down the different column names, and within those column names, beginning to look at results. For instance, you'll see here under postal code, you can see that we're looking at, we've got two types of patterns for postal code. We've got 5 nines and we've got 9 nines. And that's good. That tells us that those are the correct patterns for that field. If we look under gender, we can see that we've got gender, where unfortunately we've got 45 records that have genders representative of null, and 45, and then 72,628, which are X, which represents a character. We're going to drill into that later because you're going to want to know, well, what does that mean? What are those? So if we take a look at that next step, you can certainly see that in the case of gender here, we've drilled into gender, and again, without pre-defining, pre-organizing, or setting up any type of formal hard-coded report, we're simply looking at data, its results, and how patterns line up in different columns. In this case, we have 719 we have the gender code itself is counted up 72,673. Of those, we've got 32,153 that are male, 39,756 that are female, undefined 719, and 45 that are blank. That may or may not be important. The point is, that is what is in your data. That tells you what you have to account for in your code for your analytics, your data warehouse, your reporting, your operational system, and that is what's going to be used for you to derive and match up your business rules as you see them against what's really living in your data. So, the metric decomposition analysis we talked about earlier really means that we're going to try to take, it's kind of covered in three broad sectors. So, we're going to take and create a use case description, define some use case results, this is part of the actual output, and then do a use case validation. That means that after we've created the metadata mart, not before, and after we've got information that's been aggregated and narrowed down to tell us about what's going on in the columns of your data, that means it's going to be much, much smaller, and many records will be condensed and aggregated for you to be able to analyze. As we look at that, let's assume we want to put in a rule for SSN. We don't want to put a rule in your systems yet. We want to put a rule out there that allows us to understand, hey, of all the data that we currently have, are they valid SSNs? Are they invalid SSNs? If they are invalid, what's making them invalid? An SSN, for instance, is broken up into an area portion and several other portions. There are specific formats. In addition, you can see with our rule here, we can say an SSN is considered invalid if it has all zeros, if it's not a numeric value, if it has one of the patterns that you see here on the screen, and then several other capabilities. Well, once we apply that to our metadata mart, we're able to determine, as you can see, that we've got 183 SSNs that have an invalid area, 446 SSNs where the group is invalid, and 70,112 SSNs that are valid. Again, giving us that total. So that wraps it up for this video. See you in the next one. Thank you.